So the FNAF PTB is finally here, and after playing the new map many times, I think it's safe to conclude that there's one fairly strong window, and in addition to that, there's also another pretty decent window if you know how to play it. First, I want to focus on the stronger window. The stronger window in this main building is the one connected to the second stage. In theory, it shouldn't look like a strong window because after you vault it, you fall and drop to the floor. However, there's no stagger effect after vaulting this window, so a survivor is able to keep their momentum and continue onward. And sometimes if you play the window just right, you can actually get more than 3 vaults, because if you lose chase, the entity does not block the window. Overall, I believe this window will mostly just be known as a time-wasting window. It does not connect very well with other tiles or windows. There's one pallet in the main dining area that it does sort of connect with if you loop it just right, but even that pallet is not that strong or safe. I'd also add that the strength of the window itself is determined by how much distance is gained in a chase, and the amount of distance that you gain by using this window will ultimately depend on a lot of variables, some of which include the killer you're going against and also how much distance you had going into the chase. If you're able to gain a lot of distance, then of course you can use it to connect other tiles or windows, but my main point is that this main building doesn't really have a lot of other strong assets to it. One word of caution when using this window is that if the killer decides to mind game the window or hide their red stain, you might end up bumping into the killer. So that's something to keep in mind if you decide to loop this. Now for the second strongest window on this map. This window is located in the ball pit room. Now the funny thing about this room is that the ball pit doesn't always spawn, because the basement can actually spawn here instead and remove the ball pit, so it's not a guarantee that you'll have the ball pit, but that's beside the point. The window itself is also not a guaranteed spawn. It is based on just RNG on how it decides to spawn all of the pallets and everything else on this map. This window is essentially like a mini shack window. It's basically how you'd play shack window is how you'd play this window. This window is not too bad to use, but I would probably not use it unless you don't have anything else to go for. There is one pallet that spawns on the outside that's close to this window that can sort of connect to this, but overall this window is not that strong in comparison to the other one. And one other note about this room real quick is that there is actually a pallet that can spawn, but I believe it only spawns if the window does not spawn. As per usual with DBD, only time will tell if the components of this main building are problematic or in need of adjustments. Probably one change that should be made is making the strongest window have a stagger after falling to the ground. Outside of that though, I don't think this map is that much of a problem. There's definitely worse ones out there, so if this main building is a problem for you, good luck.